Hi everyone, welcome back to another video. Today we're going to recap the NHL trade deadline and what the Jets have been doing. There's a lot to go over, so we're just going to jump right into it. So coming into the deadline, it looked like that Andrew Copp, Paul Stastny, and Brendan Dillon were going to be the main targets for teams to target from the Jets. It looked like Copp was all but gone for most of the last month, and it looked like that Stastny could probably be gone as well because he'd be pretty attractive for a playoff push. It looked like Brendan Dillon would be a bit of maybe a wild card, maybe if a team stepped up. But the only one that got traded out of those three was Andrew Copp. So before that, a day before the deadline, the Jets actually traded a 4th-round pick in 2023 to the Seattle Kraken for Mason Appleton. The Jets had lost Appleton in the expansion draft, and they reunite with him here. He's not having as great of a year that he did a year ago. Only 6 goals and 11 assists this year with the Kraken. So he'll fill Andrew Copp's role that was left because of the trade, but we'll get to that in a minute. And early morning at 4 in the morning on trade deadline day, it looked like Nathan Beaulieu was getting traded to the Penguins for a conditional 7th. The conditions on the 7th round pick ended up being if the Penguins go and they win 3 rounds and Beaulieu plays 50% of the games, the Jets will get a 2023 7th round pick, but it does not look like that will happen. I don't have the Penguins going to the Stanley Cup Championship. And I don't see Beaulieu playing 50% of the games unless of a bunch of injuries, but we'll have to see what happens there. Either way, not a big loss. So after that, the Jets went on to trade Brian Little's contract. He is hurt, and it doesn't look like he'll ever play again. Looks like he's retired, but just collecting the rest of his paycheck there. That's off to Arizona along with prospect Nathan Smith in return for a 4th-round pick from Arizona. At the time, it was a little bit confusing, but it didn't sound like Nathan Smith was going to sign with the Jets, so it does make sense. You don't want to lose him for nothing, so that's good asset management while being able to dump a contract like Brian Little's, who's just on LTIR anyway, will probably never play again, but it was a good move by Cheveldayoff, and you get back that 4th rounder that you traded for Appleton. So basically, you just traded a bad contract and a guy that's not going to sign with you for Mason Appleton. So after that, it was pretty quiet for most of the day, and then around 1 o'clock Central Time, the Jets had traded for Zach Sanford, which I didn't really understand, from Ottawa for a 5th-round pick, and I don't really get it. I mean, maybe that's your guy that you want to add for a playoff push if you're still trying to push for that, but I just found it really weird considering that you're going to sell Copp, that you would bring in a UFA. It's not like Zach Sanford has term. And it's not like he's a bad player either, but just very strange considering they already brought in Appleton. But honestly, not a bad ad for the Jets, and if he does re-sign in the offseason, then it's not a bad bottom 6 piece for the future. Sanford is more of a defensive guy. He's a bigger guy at 6'4", 206 pounds on the NHL site. He's listed as a left wing, and he's just 27. 9 goals, 8 assists for 17 points this year, 62 games played for Ottawa, so maybe all he needs is a change of scenery, and maybe he can turn into an effective player here in Winnipeg. So now moving on to the big trade, that was the most anticipated move for the Jets, and it was the Andrew Copp deal. Lots of teams like Boston, Colorado, those teams were interested, but it ended up being the New York Rangers that got him. The Jets ended up sending Andrew Copp and a 6th-round pick in 2023, and the Jets received Morgan Barron, a 2022 conditional 2nd-round pick, another 2nd-round pick, also conditional, and a 2023 5th-round pick. So the 2022 conditional 2nd-round pick can turn into a 1st-round pick if the Rangers win 2 playoff rounds with Copp playing 50% of the games, which, unless he gets hurt, he would. And I think that's great, and I'm now a Rangers fan come playoff time, because that would be incredible if the Jets could walk away with a 1st-round pick. The other 2nd-round pick is conditional, so the Jets can choose whether it's in 2022 or 2023, so I'd assume they'd probably want to kick that can down the road to replace that 2nd-round pick that they lost from the Brendan Dillon deal. But we'll see what happens with that. The prospect that they brought in was Morgan Barron. He's a centerman, 6'4", 23 years old. He's currently playing for the Hartford Wolfpack of the New York Rangers, but obviously he'll move to the Manitoba Moose For the Wolfpack this year, he's got 25 games played, 9 goals, 6 assists for 15 points. He does have 18 games played for the Rangers in his career, 1 goal, 1 assist in those games. But from what I see, if he does make the NHL, it looks like he'll be a career bottom sixer, which isn't bad for the return. Hopefully he pans out, but he's already 23, so he's going to have to reach that potential pretty quick. And at the end of the trade, it's just a pick swap, so the Jets get the Rangers 5th and the Jets send their 6th. Not a big deal there. For me, I think this is more than fair for Copp. I think the Jets get a great return, especially if New York goes far, and they definitely could with Igor Shesterkin, but we'll have to see how that pans out in the playoffs. Go Rangers go, for sure. I'm a little surprised that the Jets didn't trade Paul Stastny. There really was no reason to keep him unless they want to go on this weird little playoff push. I don't think it's going to happen, but we'll have to see. At the time of recording this, they're 4 points out. If they beat Vegas on Tuesday, I mean, they'll only be 2 out, I believe. But we'll see. Still think it's super strange they held on to him. I think they could have gotten a pretty nice package, but maybe I'm wrong. So here's a look at what the Jets had sold and what they brought in at the deadline this year. Overall, not too bad. I think the Jets did fine. A few head scratchers with Sanford being brought in and not trading Stastny, but they did a lot of good things like dumping Brian Little's contract and getting a really good return for Andrew Copp. But yeah, so that's just my thoughts on the trade deadline. How do you guys think the Jets did? Is there anything that you would have rathered the Jets do? Yeah, just let me know in the comments below. If you enjoyed the video, leave a like and subscribe to the channel. Hopefully on Wednesday I'll have the Jets week in, week out review following the Vegas game. And yeah, so I'll see you guys in the next one. Have a great day, everybody.